This is Geometry, Chapter 1, Section 2. This will be Example 3, and a bunch of different examples for this. First few are going to be in centimeters and millimeters, and then the second ones will be in inches. So you want to either fast forward to that once you get the idea or watch the whole thing. Precision. Find the precision for 5 millimeters. Again, precision means you have to be accurate to the 0.5. So the precision is going to be equal to 0.5 of a millimeter. That's your precision. What does it mean? That means that I can be 0.5 above this or 0.5 below this 5 and still be considered 5 millimeters. So that means my measurement could be from 4.5 to 5.5 millimeters, and I could still call it 5 millimeters. So that is the meaning. So precision, half of the millimeter, because I'm measuring to my nearest millimeter, and half a millimeter means I would be down a half from this. So 5 minus 0.5 is 4.5, and 5 plus 0.5 is 5.5. So hopefully you got that on the easy example. So let's go to the next one. Still pretty easy. Find the precision. Precision is going to be 0.5 millimeters. We're measuring in millimeters, and I've got 14 millimeters there. Okay, so what does that mean? That means I could be anywhere from 0.5 less than that, and 14 minus 0.5 is going to be equal to 13.5 millimeters, and 14 plus 0.5 is equal to 14.5 millimeters. So I could be anywhere from 13.5 to 14.5 and still be considered 14 millimeters. Okay, so here's my precision, and this is the meaning of it. Okay, a little harder. Now I'm measuring in centimeters, so I am to the closest 0.2 centimeters. So my precision would be equal to half of that, and half of a 0.1 would be a 0.05. Half of a tenth would be 5/100. Okay, so there's my precision. And it's very similar to this. I mean, half of a whole is 0.5, half of a tenth is 0.05. Okay, so then what's the meaning? That means I could go anywhere from 12.2 minus 0.05, which would be 12.15, or I could be at 12.2 plus 0.05, which would be equal to 12.25. So my measurements, for me to call it 12.2 centimeters, could it be anywhere from 12.15 to 12.25 centimeters. Again, here's my precision. This is explaining the meaning. Okay, let's go to inches. This gets a little harder. First one's pretty easy. I'm in whole numbers, so I've still got, this will be a half an inch for my precision, which means I could be at 32 minus 1/2, oops, which would be 31.5, or I could be at 32 plus 1/2, which would be 32.5. And if you don't like 1/2 written that way, you could always write it with the 1/2. That way. Okay, so then my answers, for me to say it's 32 inches, I could be anywhere from 31.5 to 32.5 inches and still be considered 32 inches for my precision. Now gets the hard part. What if it's at a half of an inch? I'm at the closest half inch. Let's grab a ruler here real quick. And let's shrink it down and then blow it up. Okay, so this is my half inch. I've got this line. Half of a half inch would be a fourth of an inch. That's what this line represents, as a fourth of an inch. Or if I take half, bring it down here, half of half, that's equal to half times a half, which is equal to 1/4. So that's the math behind it. Looking at the ruler, you can see the ruler part of it behind it. Half of a half is 1/4. Of means to multiply. And if you look at this, this is your 1/2. Mark that one in red. There's my 1/2. Oops. That's 1/2. And then my 1/4 is right there. So half of a half is 1/4. So precision is equal to 1/4 inch What does that mean? Well, if I take 8 and 1/2 and I subtract 1/4, I get 8 and 1/4. And this is getting messy, so let me just move this all down. And if I take 8 and 1/2 and I add 1/4, I'm going to end up with 8 and 1/2 plus 1/4. 1/2 is actually 2/4, so 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. If you need to do that in another line, so that would be 8 and 2/4 plus 1/4 is equal to 8 and 3/4. So my measurements could be anywhere from 8 and 1/4 to 8 and 3/4 inches. And that would still be considered 8.5. So you can see how the English system gets a little bit harder. We're not just dealing with 0.5 all the time. 0.5 is pretty easy. So you're going to have to know half of a half is a fourth. Half of a fourth is an eighth. Half of an eighth is a 16th. You're basically just multiplying the denominator by 2 here. So let's look at another one. So, precision. I'm dealing in fourths here. I want half of a fourth. So, half of 1/4 equals half times 1/4, which is equal to 1/8. So I'm going to go 1/8 above and 1/8 below this number. My precision is equal to 1/8. Oops. Equals 1/8. So that's what I got out of that. Then what do I know? Well, I know I can take my 32 and 3/4 and subtract 1/8 from it. And I can take my 32 and 3/4 and I can add 1/8 to it. And that's how I'm going to get my answer. So 3/4 and 1/8, 3/4 multiply top and bottom by 2. And I might as well move this all over here. So this is actually 32 and 3 times 2 would be 6/8 minus 1/8. And this would be 32 and 6/8 plus 1/8. Okay, so 32 and 6/8 minus 1/8, 6 minus 1 is 5, so this is 32 and 5/8. And this is 6 plus 1, so this is 32 and 7/8. And again, if you need to clean that up so it looks more like a fraction, so my measurements could be anywhere from 32 and 5/8 to 32 and 7/8. And those would be my allowable amounts. So here's my precision. This is all the explaining the meaning of it. Okay? So then just let's find the precision. We don't have to explain the meaning here. Precision for 88 millimeters. Well, this is to the whole millimeter, so we want 1/2 millimeter. So your answer would be 1/2 millimeter, number B, letter B. How about this one? What do you think? Take a moment, see if you can get the right answer for it. Okay, hopefully you saw that this was eighths. So 1/8 times 1/2 would be equal to 16ths. So your precision is in 16ths, so your precision is to the closest 16th inch.